Alright guys, now this is the proper way in Bak Mei to do a Ying Jow, an eagle claw. These little first two bottom fingers are going to start the coil, right, and like that, and this knuckle is facing the opponent. It's not out there like this. In our system it's down because we're using this as a DMAC application hidden. So basic ways to grab someone's wrist, most people will just latch on and the whole hand will go around and squeeze, and they're unaware that the person's wrist and hand has play, right? So that's a downfall on grabbing just like this. It should be only for a quick second, right? If you do it like this and this is loose, because then they can re-attack you with chi na and stuff like that. So a way to latch down is, okay, there's a couple of different ways, but okay, the first way is using this bone on the outside of your hand to wrap the last two, digging in to your hand, to your fist, right? And that should be painful in itself if you get that locked down. So you're going to get underneath the bone, right? So when you latch like that and you'll see that knuckle, this bony protrusion will allow you to use your pinky, not your pinky, your ring finger and your thumb to secure that wrist here, and your palm will be on top. That little finger locks that hand from moving, right? Or less movement. The next two fingers go beside that protrusion and digs in underneath, and you're going to be using the bone of the sides of your fingers. It's not the fingertips on this, right? And the sides of your thumb, the bone is gonna oh man, it's gonna wrap. Maybe we can do it this way. Not all the way around. It has to just go under and on the lung meridian, right? So when you grab and you've got your around your wrist and your thumb, but your thumb is going to be rubbing underneath on that lung meridian. This locks down the wrist, the last two, this over the bony protrusion, and notice how I'm not wrapping all the way around. This finger's open. I've seen some people use the finger to get a point. Right, so that's the first one, using that knuckle, that bone, sorry, I keep saying knuckle, the last two fingers onto the hand and digging in underneath into the flesh under the bone, securing the wrist. Once you lock it in, it's very hard to move. The thumb's cutting in and there's a twisting and pulling until you get the place. The hand can be like this. It can pull down on the outside here to help, or the DMAC way is to these two fingers and your knuckle is going to be going into the triple heater point like this. and it like that, and on top, and these other two secure, and you use Ying and like this with a shake. So when you kola or kamna, there's a snap. So once it's secured, that finger can go up and find its way down into using that in, and I've if you've heard my Dim Mac story on the podcast, my friend passed out. So this is the palm up, and all the different, you got the heart meridian from the little finger, comes down. So remember, they take pulses here in acupuncture and Chinese medicine, so it is a very important, right? That's why you never cut yourself this way, right? But the joint of the hand is one part of the looking. So when you lock down one part of the body, you've already taken away one part of their power. So the points around the wrist, you should be investigating. You can, if you're doing it the other way, this way, hand on top, if you've got their hand like this and you've caught them this way, you do the opposite, locking down in here, right? So you got to make sure that wrist is secured, the wrist and the hand from movement, not just up on there and there's free movement, right? So you got to get in around that bone and use your inside of your fingers when you grab to rip in, and just try it on yourself. Just I take no responsibility, of course. I take none. But when I've done this with students, just grabbing and not using the third, right? Because the third is the part that combines it all. But if you get that wrist properly and use your fingers into the nerve, you're going to get people like starting to do all weird shit because it's painful, right? So there's a difference to grabbing someone's wrist and yanking them, or seizing the hand and wrist from movement. So when you slide down, you can use this way with just the first one over the bone and the last three in, and that will secure the hand. You got all locks you can do from there, right? So the way you can grab people, don't just always grab and think. First, basics is how to just grab someone, but when you start to bilse out and slide back, you're locking into, so their hand is not as free, right? And you're really talking on those nerves, right? And all those pressure points. All right, so that's how you can grab using, as long as you're training all your different claw strengths in your hand. When you do grab someone, they should be able to feel it straight away, the strength in those forearms and your Ying Jow. It's like talons, right? But these two here are secret little things for you to grasp, right? Just because you see these three, it's these two also that are secure in the hand, and not just, then that would be just a tiger claw, wouldn't it? Just grabbing like that, right? But there's three here. You can use the secure here and those last three into the wrist. and you feel it straight away. Alright, so that is a little something about Bak Mei's Dim Mak Eagle Claw skill. Right, so when you hit, when they're grabbed, or you build and then you claw down, this knuckle here. So you're gonna, depending on the person, if you've got a smaller wrist, that's easy to do. A wider wrist, it's hard to get that in. So there's ways to secure, and if it is there, bam. Alright. Alright, here's some more old notes that I did a long time ago in the 90s. One was on yin yang philosophy on the body, morning and night, positive and negative, girl and boy, left and right, front and back. In your patterns you have techniques that you hit high, kick low, negative to positive. You have techniques which you hit the front to the back. You have movements which go across the body, negative to positive. Have moves in patterns that don't work well on women, but are better on men. Females are a little bit more flexible. Doesn't mean you can't hurt them. What I meant by that is a lot of yin people have got a little bit more flexibility, and it might take a little bit more torque. So a little bit more yang's involved. If the person is yang, you would use a yin technique. Remember, this is a long time ago. Things change, the way I see things, yes and no. A technique that opens the body is a yin attack. One that collapses the body is a yin attack. When striking meridians, like the yang energy is with the flow, the yin is against the flow for the best results. Noon to midnight, upper body, midnight to noon, lower body. And then I drew my own drew my own diagrams, and it's got yin, negative hand, Xiao Yin heart meridian for combat use. Yolkamun would use this meridian 100% of the time. It starts at the two ligaments of the armpit down on the inside bicep muscle to the inside elbow joint along the ulnar bone and to the little finger on the inside of and the start of the fingernail. Effective for seizing or to punch at certain points. Points number 1, 2 and 3. There are 9 pressure points located on the Xiao Yin heart meridian. And here's something that I did for my students. This is for a pressure point test. 1. Name all the 36 points in Chinese and English. All the 36 deaf points, the Sam, Sup, Look, Say, You. Also sketch and draw the human body, fill in all pressure points, 36. How many meridians are in the human body? Now add the associated point with the correct meridian and correct internal organ which 5 element belongs to. This assignment has to be completed and handed back to Sifu Garry no later than the 8th of November 1994. Oh my God. Information on pressure points. Go to the library or get books on acupuncture, Chinese medicine, etc. And good luck and study hard. Regards, Sifu Garry. Fail and you'll have to do it all again to pass your grading. So as you see, I took everything serious, you know. Got everything that I could do just to better myself in the arts. Alright guys, Tao bliss.